perform some small concerts, but I sought out some masters and I started learning, came back, practiced. So it was a long journey to learn how to use your body to convey your voice and make your voice blend with your mind and your body and know how it can express itself effortlessly. So that was a whole journey. So there's so many angles to the development of an artist. But to answer your question about Aigiri, it's also finally what you feel. Because for me, when I sing that Aigiri, or whenever I sing anything, I kind of offer it as my offering, as my prayer, as my little thing that I can offer to everybody who is seated there, in whom I see the spark of something divine which has made me sing. And with that intent and with that belief and with that complete submersion when I sing, that is when you get stirred. If I don't do it, you're not going to feel it. That's what.
So that has to come from a very pure place.
It has to.
Right?
Absolutely.
So you have to completely, erase.
Yeah, you have to get yourself out of the way.
Yeah.
That's
your
what
ego,
it needs.
your own anxieties.
Absolutely.
Your own
Everything.
You have to just remove that.
Yeah.
So it's not just a physical practice, it's also a psychological
It's a psychological,
practice.
it's a spiritual, philosophical, psychological, everything. Yeah.
Where is this leading us to? To sing a little of Aigiri Nandini?
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
I told you, it just moves you beyond tears. It's. Have you ever had an audience that has just come to you and just sort of surrendered themselves at your feet? And it's also a transformative thing.
Absolutely. And music or any art form or anything has to transform.
Right.
Yeah. It's not enough to impress.
Yeah.
It's important to transform.
Right. And to be transformed as well.
Unless you do that, there's no transformation.
So, for instance, when you were singing right now,
you
had already...
you have to connect.
You have to just be in another place.
Absolutely.
I mean, how important is music for us to also help us cope with all the anxieties and traumas of modern life, grief and sorrow? I mean, it's so... When you hear music and you're singing sometimes, it can just ease and soothe your pain as well. Talk a bit about how important that is and how music can do so much for the soul.
Absolutely, because I think when you engage in music as a singer or as a listener, but primarily, what happens is there's a certain part of your being that is brought into focus. Because you're listening, you're absorbing, you're feeling, and you're immersing yourself. And all the other parts, the analytical, the intellectual, and all the logical parts of it go to sleep for those few minutes, in the sense they are in the sidelines. And all you're doing is focusing and experiencing. I'm reminded of these amazing words by Tamil Kavingar Kannadasan. when somebody asked him, "Varkai endral enna? What is life?" He said, "Anubhavam, experience. And anubhavame varkai. Anda anubhavame varkai. That experience itself is life." That's what he said, and that's what is the truth. So when you experience something fully, you let all the other things go. So for that 5 minutes, when you're listening to that song, you are having a kind of a state of if I were to use an esoteric word, it would be samadhi, or meditation, or dhyanam, or something happens to you. And that is so important to detoxify yourself, to invest yourself from all the cares that you're burdening yourself with. Because all of us have this doership, no? I'm doing this, I have to do this, I have to be on time, I have to impress people, I have to do this. And in those moments, you let go and say, no, I don't have to do anything. Even I don't think. When I start singing, I give up. I give up and I just do what comes. So it's a good place to be in.
Can we talk a little about your masterpiece, which I think is Kalinga Nartana? I mean,
Yeah.
it is truly a masterpiece, and I think you've developed it over time. Talk a little about the philosophy of it, and then if you could just sing a little.
Sure. So the Kalinga Nartanam Tilana, I had heard it as a young girl, sung by one of the descendants of that composer. And it was, I remember, a brilliantly exhilarating experience. And then, but I didn't know the piece, and it had faded into the background of my awareness. And then suddenly, years, decades later, somebody literally came and handed me a recording and said, "Why don't you listen to this?" And it all came back. It was more or less like that song in Yadon Ki Barat, you remember? Chura liya hai tum. All the three brothers come together and something like that.
It was that Yado Ki Barat song.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
Yadon
Dharmender,
ki
the great
Barat.
Dharmender.
Something like that. So this Tilana came to me, and then I said, I have to sing this in concert, which it took me time to learn it, then to interpret it, give it my twist, my personality, whatever little I had. And then I performed, and it did not meet with very positive reaction from the opinion makers. But the audience just loved it. But the people who were conscience keepers, they felt, oh, this is too outlandish, this is something out of the ordinary, not really meant for a classical performance. That was the early reaction. But then, the wave of that Tilana just swept everything, and finally everybody has become like a huge, aficionado of this Tilana, and they just love it. So it's interesting. This was composed in the 16th century. Can you believe it? 16th century. Some composer, Othukadu Venkata Subbayar, sitting there in the back of the Beyond near Kumbakonam, sitting and composing this piece. And we still enjoy it like as though it was composed yesterday. That's something. Absolutely. Krishna jumped onto the 5 heads of Kalinga and danced. And then when he danced, it was also a tussle between him and the 5-headed snake. But he managed to tell the snake to leave the waters of the Yamuna and go away to another place where he's not disturbing anybody. That's the essence of this story. So this is what happens. Krishna jumps onto the snake and dances. Just give me a second.
I'll just hold. Yeah, please. That needs a special effort. this is what I meant by saying that you feel transported. You feel that
you start feeling that ecstasy, the joy that he must have had, Krishna, when he danced on that snake. And how the snake also started playing with him a little bit. And it's just, and I just want to get this message across to those of you seated there who are probably not familiar with classical music and Carnatic music, that, this is, we talk about spirituality and all that, but actually it's a celebration.
Yeah.
It's a celebration, it's an affirmation of life, and it is life on a day-to-day basis. It's nothing esoteric. This is the only thing that I always want to convey through my music,
And that it can be playful too.
Very
it doesn't
playful.
have to be so deadly
No.
serious.
Life is full of the 9 rasas,
Exactly.
There is humor, there is comedy, there is exhilaration, excitement, there is love, so many things.
Right.
Yeah.
How have you managed with all these collaborations that you've done with so many international artists?
Yeah.
We all know music has no language, but truly it doesn't have a language. And how have these collaborations worked? Have you enjoyed them? Have you learned
Immensely.
from them? Have they learned from you?
Immensely. I think in any collaboration, every collaborator ends up learning something. There's something that happens that changes your way of looking at things, because when somebody else looks at the same thing and says, it could be done this way, you say, okay, that's something. Maybe I should also look at it that way. So you always end up learning something. Yeah.
I was wondering, what did you perform when you went to the BBC proms? That must have been, and what was the atmosphere and what was the response like? Because that's very posh, isn't it?
Very, absolutely. And it happened at the Royal Albert Hall. The Royal Albert Hall. So I was like, what am I going to sing here, and what am I going to impress these British people who probably have never heard this music before? But, the interesting thing is the BBC and many of the Western countries, they have a very good way of doing things, which I think slowly now India is also adopting. So they sell tickets for all these box seats and the important, people who come buy these expensive tickets. And then when it comes to the day of the performance or before, they give away at a very low price the tickets.
So finally, they like that for £10.
10 pounds, 5 pounds, something like that. With the result, when I came on the stage, the house was full, and not a pin could drop. People were standing, and it was all young people, students, who couldn't have afforded a £50 or a £100 ticket, but they got it at £10. They came, and when I started singing, they were like, hooting and enjoying, and also classical music has a lot of improvisation. And when I'm singing an improv, like, if I'm doing da dum dum da da dum da da dum dum da da dum dum da da num da num da num da num da num dum da num dum da num dum da num da num dum da num da num dum da num dum da num dum. I'm just playing with the notes. I'm just singing something out of the top of my head. So they don't have to know anything. They just have to be in the present, and they can enjoy this music. It's so immediate. So I had a great time performing at the BBC proms.
And what about young people in India? There is a lot of interest now.
Now it's very fashionable to say, I went for a classical concert.
Yes.
That is so amazing. Amazing.
And here you referred to as the mother of Tamil rap.
Absolutely.
That's quite interesting. Someone was telling me, she doesn't, her music is like Tamil rap.
Yeah. Oh, actually what I sang now was, strictly speaking, Sanskrit. But if you want to hear a stretch of Tamil, very, very brisk Tamil, I can sing you a stretch of a piece. This was composed by Aruna centuries ago, much, much before so many rap came. It wasn't rap, but you just listen to this. Tamil for you.
We couldn't have ended on a better note. Thank you so much. It's always a privilege to talk to you, to listen
My
to
pleasure.
you. And may you continue to power our lives with your strength and your courage
Thank
and
you.
your music. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Kaveri.
everyone. I
Thanks
think
for calling
we
me.
should give her a standing ovation. Thank you.
Of course, and keep the applause going while I invite our CEO from ABP Network, Mr. Sumanta Datta, to join us and present ma'am with a token of our appreciation. Thank you so much, ma'am. And of course, I think the stage has come a lovely circle, ladies and gentlemen. We started off with the algorithm and we close on a lovely note that aptly titled, the closest that we can come to a Tamil rap, and a huge round of applause, I think, is very well deserved here. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that.